In Geneva, the Syrian government said it was pushing on with indirect negotiations, calling the opposition's freeze on its participation absurd theater. The anti-government High Negotiations Committee this week suspended its participation in the UN brokered talks until it could see progress on political transition and humanitarian issues. Unidentified gunmen attacked policemen guarding medical workers administering polio vaccinations in Karachi, Pakistan, Wednesday, killing 7 of them. It's the latest violence against efforts to eradicate the crippling disease. Teams in Pakistan are working to immunize children against the virus. I'm Frances Alonso in Washington.
That's the latest world news from VOA.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington.
So many things went so terribly wrong and tragically wrong in Flint.
Michigan Attorney General Bill Schuette announcing charges against 3 men in connection with Flint's lead-contaminated water supply. 1 Flint City employee and 2 state environmental regulators have been charged with evidence tampering and other felonies and misdemeanors.
They had a duty to protect the health of families and citizens of Flint. They failed.
The state regulators accused of refusing to order water treatment that could have prevented the release of lead. Corrosion control wasn't added to the water from the Flint River while the city used that water for 18 months. Supporters at a Pennsylvania rally for Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz insist they are not overly concerned about his third-place finish in the New York GOP primary. Also at SRNnews.com, flooding in the Houston area has claimed the life of an 8th person. And National Weather Service meteorologist Brian Kyle says that high water will pose a threat for the next couple of days at least.
We still have several bayous and rivers over banks producing quite a bit of flooding in the Houston metro area. Those are going to be somewhat slow to go down.
Looks like the spring home buying season is gaining momentum. National Association of Realtors chief economist Lawrence Yoon says the numbers for March are looking quite good.
Home sales rose 5.1% from February. So this is a good rebound after some slump in February.
And the sales rose even as fewer properties were listed. Stocks higher on Wall Street. The Dow is up about 97 points. The Nasdaq ahead 22. The S&P 500 index up 8 points. This is SRN News. A fitness instructor has been killed at a North Texas church. Investigators seeking a man dressed as a police officer who was seen on security video.
Midlothian police say the body of 45-year-old Terry Beavers of Red Oak was found Monday by a student arriving for class. Beavers, who was a married mother of 3, was killed at Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, 20 miles southwest of Dallas. No cause of death was immediately released. Captain John Spence, his officers found broken glass on the floor and evidence of forced entry into the church, possibly for a burglary. The video shows the man inside the church minutes before the victim arrived before dawn Monday. He wore a jacket labeled police, also had gloves and a helmet. Patrick Foss reporting.
Yemeni security officials say a member of the country's Jewish minority has been detained over allegations that he helped to smuggle an 800-year-old Torah scroll to Israel. Officials say the individual is being interrogated by the intelligence service run by Shiite Houthi rebels who control the country's capital. This is SRN News.
I'm on the observation deck of the Empire State Building to demonstrate how much material Waste Management recycles. As North America's largest residential recycler, last year alone, Waste Management recycled 12.9 million tons. How much is that? Let's do the math. Carry the 6. It's enough to fill this building more than 27 times. With experience like that, we're bound to have a program that can help your business recycle. Talk to Waste Management or visit thinkgreen.com.
Welcome, everybody, to the Raad Life, the only talk radio show that takes you along with host and age explorer Raad Gantos on his continuing journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older. The Raad Life is brought to you this week by Your Home for a Lifetime, a company dedicated to empowering you to stay safely, independently, and comfortably in your own home. And now here is your host, Raad Gantos.
Paul, can you hear me? Hello.
I can't
Hello?
see you through the crowd here.
You can't see me through
when
the
you
crowd.
said welcome everybody, I didn't mean like everybody in the whole block here.
The circus is in town, right? It's like a clown car in here today,
Yeah,
right?
You said take me out to the ball game. I feel like the whole ball game's here.
Well, you know what?
The whole team's here.
I think we have a new record today. Do we have a new record today?
I'm counting at 12.
Okay, so from here on, if you really want to top the Rad Life record, you got to show up with like a dozen people.
People have to be under the desk. Yeah,
okay, we have a certain benchmark now. No, it's awesome actually because some of these people are new and some of them are I don't know how I have not met them before, and some of them I know because yay, another shout out for a local San Clementian. Yeah. Beth Apodaca, who's here, and a lot of people that are listening from down there know exactly who Beth is, and she just keeps on trucking. Keeps on getting involved.
There we go.
She wasn't wearing a good hat, though, but it was an Angel's hat, because on the other side of the table today, I have Clyde Wright, who, Clyde, I can't do stats. I can't do sports stats, right? How many years did you play for the Angels?
I played 8 years for the Angels.
Wow. And I think you got some records that are still on there, aren't there? Don't you?
That's because I played longer than anybody else. I've got a couple of them. I threw the first no-hitter in Angel Stadium.
Well done. That's awesome.
Back in 1970.
Well, you see, you asked the question. I wasn't going to. I don't usually bring age or years into this, but.
I'm glad to be 73.
You know, okay, awesome. So
you know what's amazing to me is outside he had a very thick New York accent. Now he's suddenly dropped into this Southern baseball drawl here. Every baseball player has a Southern drawl to him. Aren't any of them from like New York or Canada?
Yeah, but we don't associate with the players from New York unless my son is playing there.
I see. That it's okay.
My son played for the Yankees for 3 years.
Did he? Okay.
And you guys are on talking terms, right?
Oh, yes. After Steinbrenner paid him a lot of money. We're on good terms.
Well, I was going to say, where do you live? You're in Orange County.
I live in Anaheim. I live 5 minutes from Angel Stadium. So
wow, you didn't go too far, did you?
No. I still work for the Angels and community relations and stuff. I've been to every Little League park in Orange County over the years.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I mean, we talk about this on the show, and I think you and I know for sure Beth with her involvement in the community. I mean, we talk about people and the pursuit of a passion. Like if you're fortunate enough to find something that you're passionate about and you happen to be good about, it's kind of hard to walk away from that, regardless of how old you get. You feel like you still have things to contribute. Do you feel that way? I mean,
yes, because working for the Angels, I still get a chance to play. In my mind, my age tells me I can't play,
right.
But my mind says I can, right?
That's the close next best thing, right?
Yeah, that's it. But I still get to go to all the games, and I watch the guys play. I watch Trout, Pujols, Calhoun, all of these guys, Weaver and stuff, and I can just put myself in their place 40, 45 years ago.
So let me ask you the tough question that maybe we shouldn't ask, but has the game gotten better?
No.
I like him. I like that.
Question at all.
Wait a minute. Let me explain that.
Honesty.
Let me explain it.
Always on this show. Sometimes you don't want it, but you're going to get it anyway.
It might have gotten better for the players of today.
Yeah.
But not for the players that I played against and played with and stuff. We had a super game. Today they have a super game. One's no better than the other one. We just love to play,
You think the reasons for playing have changed?
Money.
Yes.
Moneyball.
Ignore the jaded man in the corner of the room.
No, he's right. Money has a lot to do with it now. Because, I tell the guys when I go speak to different clubs and stuff, if we had a split fingernail or something, we'd have to try to play, because if we didn't, it'd send us back to AA or AAA and say, let it heal down there, right?
Yeah.
Now you go on the DL, the disabled list, and wait till it heals up and stuff. But, I've got to explain one thing. when those guys are out on the field playing, they don't look in their back pocket and count how much money they got in the bank. They look at that pitcher out there, if you're a hitter, and you're trying to figure out a way to get him out. You worry about your banking account, later.
Well, I think it's also part of what has become the norm, right? I mean, money is important. I mean, we're sitting here, we're about to talk about a fundraiser, right? So I mean, those are the things that grease the wheels.
And wait till you see how much we had to pay Rod to come in and host the show, too. My goodness.
I thought we were never, ever, ever going to talk about that.
You paid him?
Oh, my goodness.
I guess my check's in the mail.
So is mine, Clyde. Trust me, I've been waiting for a year for it.
Okay.
But
this is community radio.
Yeah. I had the fortune to meet Fred Hill, who used to play for the Eagles.
Yeah.
And he actually, how I met him is because his daughter was very instrumental in her story and what she went through back in the 70s in Philadelphia with her cancer and so forth. It actually kind of solidified the NFL and Ronald McDonald House, and that was actually the impetus of the Ronald McDonald House that now there's 300 in the world.
Yeah.
And I remember I was shocked when I was talking to him, and he said, back in the day when I was playing and we were making $24,000, he was a football player for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I had to ask that question, and I hear what you're saying, is that when you're standing when you're on the diamond, when you're in the bases, what you're looking at is the game, and it's not the checkbook.
Right.
But that's just become the norm.
Did you have to have a summer, or did you have to have an off-season job?
Yes, I sold cars for a while in the wintertime, right?
That's funny.
And I played a little bit of golf. People used to tell me,
is that like
golf.
Is golf like golf?
You want to get out that door with two eyes?
Yeah. Did you hear what he answered you? Go ahead and answer him again.
Right. Punch his lights out.
Yeah. Do you want to go?
Yikes. No. I've got to
play nice, people.
If we go off the air suddenly, you'll know what happened.
I've got to explain one thing to you. We all talk about raising money for charities and all this, right?
Yeah.
There is so many athletes that raise money for charity and stuff.
Absolutely.
That nobody knows about.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Right. We had Rod Carew in here a while ago. I forgot the charity he's involved in because of his daughter.
He's got 4 or 5 different charities now.
Yes, really nice guy. And all these guys put a lot of work in off.
And you're right. And that's something that is done as a labor of love. It's not really a press release or a PR move. Yeah. Well, let's talk about this thing that you're involved with, the golf tournament that I believe is for benefiting Age Well Senior Services, right?
Right. And, it's like Meals on Wheels. They always tell me, I told them, I'm getting at that age now, I might need one of those meals, right? So they asked me to put my name on it, and I said, sure, I'd be happy to do it.
And is this the first year that you're doing it, or have you done it before?
It's a third year. Yes, I've done it before with them, yes.
And I love the logo of the golf ball and the baseball, for the Clyde Wright Invitational. And you guys, are we on live on YouTube today, Paul?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, I'm going to hold it up. Let's see if people
can pick that up. I don't know. I can't zoom in.
We're experimenting here. I'll zoom in.
There you go.
This is the old-fashioned zoom.
See, I think Dave Napier.
Nothing but the best equipment on OC Talk Radio.
That's right. Spare no expense.
Yeah.
So, and how has it been the last couple of years?
It's been super.
Yeah.
I invite 5 or 6 guys to come down from the Angels or Dodgers, and we put them in a foursome, and we just have a good time. I always bring guys that have a lot of fun playing golf.
Right.
I don't want to bring a stick in the mud because, guys pay money to play in there.
Right.
And it's it's not a job, but we try to, keep them to where they have a good time.
Right, it's an entertaining thing. Right, no, because it's an opportunity, I think, which is the case in a bunch of these sort of activities with celebrities, is that you can basically be elbow to elbow with somebody,
right,
and you can basically be, 3-hour game maybe, or, assuming there's no alcohol, then when there's alcohol, that's longer, but, and cigars come out. Oh, anyway, so
what tournaments do you play?
I think I just basically got myself, outlawed on a bunch of courses down in South County.
Right.
But so Is it always at the same place?
Yes. Well, I think they played it before I became involved at Pelican Hills one year.
Well, Beth, this would be a good time to bring in Beth.
Well, you got to
Bring in
introduce.
Beth.
Why don't you introduce everybody first? Or?
Well, hold on. Let me just get that question answered, and then we'll go around the table because I have sort of a system. We're going to get to the rest of the guests when it's timely to do so. But I appreciate
we shall
that.
take half of the show to introduce him.
Wow, that's a little. Never mind. So, Beth, would you introduce yourself, please, to everybody who's listening? Who I don't know who wouldn't know you.
Beth Apodaca, I do special events for Agewell Senior Services. So I help raise money in many different forms for Meals on Wheels, transportation, and other needed services. So.
And Agewell Senior Services, for those who don't know, used to be
South County Senior Services.
Okay, thank you.
We operate south. We're all the 10 cities south of the Y, as we call it.
Right.
We operate center.
So it's what is that? What would that be like? Lake Forest and down?
Lake Forest, Aliso Viejo, Laguna Niguel, Corona del Mar, all the way down. Laguna Beach, Dana Point, San Clemente, San Juan, all the way down.
Okay, and this is something that you guys, like Clyde was saying, you've been doing maybe even longer than he's been around. Has it been a good fundraiser for Agewell?
It has. Golf, we have a couple different ones. There's people that like to go to galas, and there are people that don't.
Yeah, like the Captain's Ball and stuff
right.
like
So
that.
the Captain's Ball appeals to a segment of the community, but there are quite a few that would rather golf.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the two different fundraisers.
Smart.
And so we've been doing this off and on for many years. And then 3 years ago, we were introduced to Clyde through Dave, and the opportunity came, and it's actually just evolved. The golf tournament has turned into so much more.
And so when is the golf tournament?
Yeah, when is the golf tournament?
Monday, May 16th at the Aliso Viejo Country Club.
Okay,
that's a nice one too.
And what kind of attendance do you usually have?
Right now, we were just talking. We have about 110 golfers, I think, is what we figured signed up already.
I think we have about 100 of them in the studio
They are,
today.
see? And as we all know in South County, everybody signs up last minute. So we'll probably have the full
It's so
140 by the 14th, 2 days before. You know, it's like.
Right. So if you anybody who's listening, why don't you give the website out while we're on it, so for people who want to follow up,
and then we'll hit it again
where
at the
can
end,
people register? Where can people?
myagewell.org.
myagewell.org, and look for the Clyde Wright Invitational. It's right there. Actually, I was looking at the Facebook at the page, and it's right there in the front page of the website for Agewell. And so, to keep niceties with Paul, we'll introduce the.
You're trying to figure out where to go with this.
Right,
Before you go anywhere, can I just do my personal shout out?
Yeah.
Meals on Wheels, fantastic program.
Yeah.
Talk about Meals on Wheels for a second. And I'll tell you why, because I have a 92-year-old aunt, lives out in the desert by herself, and God bless Meals on Wheels out there. They keep her alive. They check on her every day, and they bring her a fresh meal. They don't ask for any money because she's poor as a church mouse, but she still scrapes together. I think she gives them $100 a month or something.
But you know, that surprising thing is most people think it's a federally funded program.
And I thought it was too, yeah.
Each is done by a nonprofit. So we have this South County, and then there's like Senior Serve that has the Irvine area, the desert has it. And so that's why so many people like, well, why do you need money? Well, it's not a government funded at all.
I thought it was a government, so it's not. It's,
It's a nonprofit.
But it's a similar program from area to area.
You have to meet a set of standards.
And can they have certain nutritional guides and they basically give you a free meal. They'll come out.
You do. If you're over the age of 60, according to the Elders Americans Act and a few programs in place, there, Clyde's raising his hand. It's on a donation basis. That means you pay zero, or you can pay whatever the suggested price is, but no one monitors it. It's all, and that's how it's supposed to be. So every senior will receive a healthy days worth of meals.
And for so many of them, it keeps them alive. It keeps them going. My aunt can't get out to shop very often.
Right.
She doesn't really want to cook very often. And if she did, she wasn't eating well. She was eating out of a can or something, like so many seniors do, and eating some frozen dinner or something. And this is so much healthier for her. And the fact, I'm sorry to say, at her age, all of her friends have left. They've all passed on to the great beyond here. They've all died. And so she really doesn't see many people other than when I go out and visit, and the guy from Meals on Wheels comes every day. I'm grateful that somebody checks on him.
Yeah, they do. They wait. And that's one of the things we also are, because not only they kind of go and they glance around the house, and sometimes they'll purge some of the old foods out of the refrigerator. And it is someone, like you say, some of these seniors don't see anybody but that person.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize that. I mean, there's a group of people who are living shut-ins, not because they necessarily have to be, but because their relatives, their friends have died or left or whatever. And there's an awful lot of people right around your neighborhoods, folks, that that you don't even know are.
No, and that's why we talk about the needs for transportation for life enhancing versus just life sustaining. We talk about nutritional education and how that is even constantly changing as far as what is good for you and for different things. I mean, there's recent studies that are controversial, but that even connect nutrition and the type of diet that you're on with the propensity to actually be diagnosed with Alzheimer's,
absolutely,
propensity for dementia. So all of these things are constantly evolving. And if you're basically your social social system has been, or your social circle has gone, either passed away or moved on, or moved into a home, you can't get around. This is pretty much your point of contact with the outside world.
That's
and in whether it is cleaning out the refrigerator, whether it's just making sure that things seem okay,
well checked.
and you don't need that adult care.
I had no idea till she started this a couple of years ago, and how grateful I am for that. They come out, they keep her alive, she looks forward to it every day. Somebody checks on her every day, but for that, I don't know what we do. She can't afford to move into a assisted living facility because she doesn't have the money to do it. I have an extra bedroom in our house in Orange County. I've always said she could come in, but she can't go up and down the stairs, and she has her doctors out there, and she's lived out there for years, and she doesn't want to be a burden or move in, so she's pretty much alone. 2 hours away from I'm her only living relative left there.
Well,
how many get served by that program?
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is the time to do that. Great shout out to our 800 volunteers that actually help us operate and do this. We served last year over 300,000 meals.
300,000 meals
so,
here in
Orange,
in affluent, upscale Orange County, where you don't think anybody is without, or anybody needs help.
And that's 10 communities out of what, 32, 34?
Yeah,
34 cities.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so that's just us, and that's why I say. But we couldn't do it out with the fabulous people that step up and volunteer their time, and they love it. They get their route, they get their seniors. They really don't want to miss it. They plan their vacations because they've now connected with so many of those people.
They become family, right?
And my wife, we learned about it because my wife's father, who died a number of years ago, in his latter years, until he needed the service, for many years he was a volunteer until one day he needed the service himself, and he just thought it was such a wonderful thing to go meet these. They get so excited when somebody comes to deliver your meal. They may be the only person they see that day.
Well, and I think it's probably a little bit of a misnomer too that people think that it's not seniors that are also actually volunteering, because I know for a fact from just my own family, my aunt who's in Chicago, she is up there. She's probably close to 80, and she is basically, she gets dressed, she goes out,
gives her
she volunteers at the senior center.
Right.
She gives, and of course, in her mind, she's 60.
Yes,
right. But basically, it's actually it gives back. Not only are you volunteering, but you're also benefiting.
Yeah,
which I think it's an important thing for.
So
people
it helps
to,
people.
Otherwise,
in two
she'd
ways.
be just at
the
home.
volunteers get a lot of it, and the people who need. I think I can't tell you of all the programs I've seen, this one is so wonderful. I don't know how it's all funded and all it does. I guess it's just through donations.
There's a whole different ways of doing it.
But unlike so many things where so much of it goes for fundraising or for administrative costs or whatever, and yes, all charities are worthwhile. I wish I could give to all of them, but this one I've seen firsthand how it helps seniors in a very needy situation.
Has there been an increased need, Beth, or is it changed with the demographics changing, that like baby boomers
You're doing
in?
what I told her not to do. You're looking away from the mic when you talk to her.
I need a tracking mic.
The world is going to change with the baby boomers coming in. They're still young and very active, but they're coming in, and the need is going to become greater. It is great right now, but it's going to become greater over time. And that's one of the things that we have to emphasize, and you want to keep getting people in place, because when those baby boomers that are 65 hit 85, we are going to have an amazing flex in the market. And that's one of the things that we said when you were talking earlier about the expenses. Agewell, 91% of all revenues raised goes directly to programs and services. We only have a 9%.
Here, locally, it doesn't get sent somewhere else.
No, and 9% is all that goes back to actually run the agency. So it's one of the few that can say
That's a very lean nonprofit.
Yes, it is, for those of us that work
for
there.
what, and for the kind of the kind of work that you guys do too. I mean, that's amazing.
We always say, don't look at the desks. We're a nonprofit, okay?
Yeah,
just avoid those when you go down the hallway.
What other services do you do other than that?
We do non-emergency medical transportation. We provide.
Is there a fee for that, or do you do it?
It's a round trip. It's I can't remember. I think it's $3.50. $3.50, and they'll pick you up from where you're at. We do a lot of people that need to get They go up for their dialysis, and so they have to go to certain areas.
There was an age-well van today down by the DMV in Laguna Hills. I saw it this morning at 9 o'clock.
You're now going to see them everywhere you go. But we do a lot of services. We case managers, we have nurses, we have people that go out. We keep an eye on people. We run centers so people can come in and eat.
And how did this group come about? Because I don't think, is there an age well type organization and other things, or is this a one-off?
That's a good
it started Dr. Marilyn Diddy, who's still the executive CEO, I guess, of the agency. Started it back in the 70s down in San Clemente, and it was called South County Senior Services. There was such a need in the area for that. And then we grew and we've expanded and we've grown. So we operate 10 centers, senior centers, so people can come in and eat and, as they say, get in, interact. Interaction is so important for these people that are home. They need to get out and talk to people. Otherwise, like you said, they're in.
Shut in.
So we offer services. We own 2 centers. So we own San Clemente, and we own the Florence Sylvester in Laguna Hills. The rest of them we have in city buildings. So we kind of like, if you go to Florence, Murray, Mission Viejo, Dana Point, we're connected. At one time in San Clemente we were, but that's how I got involved at AJOL about 10 years ago, is we started a capital campaign to build our building. And so at that time we all sat on the capital, the
so
cabinet.
do cities hire you then to run programs? Do you get paid from them, or is this all just still? There's got to be money here somewhere. You guys aren't making enough money. Well, you got to get bigger golf tournaments.
Yeah, we got to do more than that. I know. We were talking about that the other day. We need to improve things. But the cities we're at, we pay the staff. And we provide the meals, and we provide that. And they do, maintenance of the building, et cetera. On our buildings, in addition to raising Meals on Wheels, as these nice gentlemen from Parentis know, we have to run other fundraisers to operate our own. So we're fundraising on top of fundraising. So like the Florence Sylvester is going to have a big casino night. Well, that money has to go back to pay for all of that. And then we raise money from Meals on Wheels. So it's a lot of balls in the air all the time.
And there's no federal grants or other sorts of state grants or anything?
There's the Elders Americans Act. There's money through Cal Optima for we have an adult daycare center where people come in, which is saying, and so there is funding and there's different pieces that fall together, but it's not quite enough to
talk about that for a second, because people don't realize as baby boomers, we're the first sandwich generation. Our parents have lived so long that we've ended up taking care of them, and our kids have boomeranged back into us because they can't get jobs or can't afford to live anywhere else. So we've got kids on one hand,
you
and
have
parents
personal
on the other.
Experience with that.
I have personal experience with it, actually, and I didn't realize how difficult it was to watch after an aging parent as they get. Maybe it isn't full-on Alzheimer's, but just a little memory loss or cranky or needy or whatever, or lonely. And sometimes you need a break.
Yeah, and that's what part of it is. It's not only getting them out, we have a gym, but it's respite care for the provider.
Yes.
And then there is some funding for that. There's not as much out there as we all would like because it's very expensive to send someone to that.
And we've talked in Rod shows where people who are trying their best to take care of aging parents, elder family members, and there's getting abusive. They're beating them up. They're hitting them. There's mad. There's angry. I can't take it anymore. Shut up.
Especially when it comes down to cases of dementia, because it challenges every reality you have, and it depends on the stage of dementia, right?
Right.
I actually had a opportunity, I think it was yesterday, to have a preparation conference call with about 4 panelists. I'm moderating a panel on dementia for the Kasem Care Conference on Aging on Friday. That's taking place in Costa Mesa. To give a big shout out. If anybody's interested in going,
give a shout out to that event.
And you're listening to the show, you can go register at Aging and Education, Education.com, or you can go to Kasem Care Foundation and look at it either on Facebook or on the web.
This is the famous Casey Kasem's daughter that runs this thing.
Yes, Carrie Kasem. And basically, it's a 2-day conference at the Hilton, Costa Mesa, Orange County.
Right up
the street, yeah. And if you go register, there's a place where you could put in a code. Put in my name, RAAD, and you end up with a $50 bill instead of a $250 bill.
Take advantage of that.
Right.
And that's this Friday.
This is Friday, Saturday.
Right.
And I'll be presenting doing a presentation on aging in place on Saturday.
Is going to be there? Well, they should get them over here.
There probably is someone going from our agency.
Yeah.
We have we put on the South County Senior Summit. which is the same week as our wonderful golf tournament. Nothing like two events in 1 week.
You guys are nuts.
It's a good thing to have volunteers.
Yeah, thank goodness. In Laguna Woods, and this year it's called Aging Simplified, Orange County's Commitment to Serving Our Seniors. And we have about 1,200 seniors that'll pass through this event. We have vendors and everything in there. And there's no charge for them to come. Right. But it's just to let them know what's out there and available.
So can I ask you the question that we ask all the time on this show? Does the word senior turn everybody off? It turns me off. I mean, I might go to learn about retirement, aging parents, aging myself, but the minute you slap senior on it, I ain't going.
You know what? You'll be surprised, like you're saying, the sandwich generation, how many younger people are there now trying to find the services for their elders.
Right. I just wish we could come up with another term that doesn't sound, or we could take this 40 or 50-year span that we're entering. The 60-year-olds don't want to be lumped in with the 80 and 90-year-olds. We don't want to feel like we're all part of one group, and yet that's the way we're treated. You know, from 55 on, you're a senior. Whether you're 95 or 55, you're supposed to be part of one group. And I think they've got to find another way to define that.
But I think once you have critical mass on the end user type, having a different growing experience, if you will, as a boomer, I think that's going to reflect in how the services are, what are the services that are offered, the health levels of people will also factor in. I mean, I think right now where it's at, it's still probably the way it's been done. But I know even in the case of AgeWell, they have made a conscious effort to basically re-envision
that's a good name.
what the services are.
That's a good name. It doesn't sound like...
And they changed that.
From South County.
South County Senior Services.
See, that sounds like something I'm not going to go experiment that. But Aging Well, I go.
But it's kind of funny you talk about that. We put on a senior prom every year, and so we tell people we're doing it. And it was started back. Cox started it. I'm going to say probably 27 years ago or something. And it was put on originally for seniors who couldn't go to their prom during the war. So they have it now. So when you tell them you're putting a senior prom on there, how are your teenagers? I'm like, no, this is a senior prom. And at the senior prom, it is. And we crown a king and a queen, and it's the oldest in the room. One year it was a 103-year-old man.
Oh, my goodness.
And we crowned, I think it was a 98-year-old lady, and they got up and they danced right around that dance floor. And so I'm going to say aging.
See, but Beth raises an interesting point just in terms of linguistics, right? When you're in high school and you're going to be a senior, you can't be prouder.
Yes,
right. I have one right now.
That's a great term to be a senior.
And then here we are later on in life, and you do not want to call me that, right?
Well, and you don't want to call him a senior citizen. For some reason, citizen on the end is just worse than senior.
But citizen on its own is fine.
Yeah, but senior citizen, that's it.
Let's go take a break, and we'll pay the bills, and we'll come right back. And I want to hear more about this, and you want to go around the room and introduce the 400 other people, which should take another 20 or 30 minutes or so. Stick around. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, yeah.
If you are like the majority of Americans, you want to continue living in a familiar environment throughout your maturing years. In fact, according to many surveys, 82% of homeowners overwhelmingly prefer to age in place, which means living in their current homes safely, independently, and comfortably, regardless of age or ability level. With over 30 years of combined experience in residential, commercial, hospitality, and destination resorts fields, Your Home for a Lifetime is a company dedicated to empowering you to maintain your quality of life and independence by helping you make your house your home for a lifetime. Do you want to reorganize or remodel your home? Do you want to add a full bathroom and possibly a bedroom on the main floor? Are you looking to make your kitchen more functional? Is an aging parent moving in, or your child is moving out, or even moving back in? Call Your Home for a Lifetime at 949-492-1872 or check them out on the web at yourhomeforalifetime.com and find out how they can help you make your house your home for a lifetime.
All right, wait, hang on. Let me turn the mics up. There we go.
Okay. We were just talking about how, and we've said this before on this show many times, it's a fascinating exercise when you stop long enough and accept the fact that words really mean things.
Big time.
Right? And in this particular industry, I think words change. right? They've changed in the last decade.
They're going to have to change because the baby boomers won't accept the term until maybe they're 80 or 90. We still see ourselves as the Peter Pan generation. We're never going to get old.
But I'll tell you, I see you do this almost every week, right? Where you're searching for a label, a overarching
a way to
thing
describe
that
this
boomers.
period of time, because whether we like it or not, people are going to label this, and they are going to create summits around it and books around it and shows around it. So what are we going to call this? Senior centers. You've said this before. When you call them
wellness centers and make it a nutritional educational program with some local chefs and farm to table, and make it a chef's table versus just laminated tabletops, and you're going to get a bunch of people. To Beth's point, these are people that are maybe coming in today to investigate these resources for their parents. Right. But what's happening in an indirect way, whether they accept it or not, it's the old, oh no, it's not for me, it's for somebody I know, right? But meanwhile, you're getting educated as well. So when it comes time for you already know, and because you know, you feel more empowered and have more independent decision making. So actually, if it's sold that way, you're educating a whole generation of people coming into those needs later.
And we've said, and I think
language is important.
Language is important, and I think the baby boom as a generation is rushing headlong into this new era, this new final chapter, this third chapter. We're going to redefine it. I know we're going to change it, just like we changed what it was like to be a kid or a teenager, or all these other, we were hippies and yuppies and all these other crazy things. I don't know what we're going to be. But if I'm any indication, and my friends are any indication, most of us don't want to face this.
Well, you know what?
We don't talk about it.
Part of what we offer at our centers as way in is baby boomers are all there. Yeah. We have yoga.
Yeah,
we have all these classes, intellectual classes. The Emeritus College comes in and runs all their programs, financial, everything. So you're stepping in. We have gyms. So they're coming and joining the gyms at the center. I mean, they're like, I think they're like $5 a month. Wow. You know, and silver sleeper, what is the silver sneaker? That thing, the sneaker thing pays for part of that. You know, so I mean, so there's computer labs. There's a ton of things there.
And these are all at the different. Like, are you involved in the Rancho Santa Margarita one? That's where I live.
Yeah, that's the Bell Center. It's run out there by the Agewell is the staff that runs it, and it's held at the center. So there are employees, but we run all that and all our volunteers.
I'd like to learn more about it. You guys, I'm going to offer you another thing. Get a PSA together, and we'll add it to the station.
We'll run it.
We have actually one from, and now I'm not going to remember the gentleman's name, who was a corner on one of the big shows, and he did one for us. And we've had some big ones.
If you've got an MP3, send it to us.
We'll more than happy.
I'll have Dan do it. There's some really good ones because we're working on it. Because we've been working on them because we're all taking part in that iHeart Day of Giving, that 30 hours here.
Yes.
So it's our first year doing it. So you have to do all these little video contests.
When is that thing, that iHeart thing?
April 27th through the 28th.
And explain that again. I just saw that
So
this
it's
morning.
for 40 hours. I have a little thing. It says starting at 6 a.m. and ending at noon on the 28th. Orange County comes together to support senior services, or it could be,
Any
dog
charity,
rescues and whatever, and other local nonprofits. And the Orange County Community Foundation will match funds of what you raise that day. It's all done online. Minimum of $25. You're going to be getting emails from everybody, but it's a great opportunity.
Is that a Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday and a Thursday. So
why don't we do something on that Wednesday?
We can.
That should be the show.
There are about, I think, 300 charities or something participating this year, all throughout.
Because I started getting some emails saying, please, if you support us that day, and we'll get matching funds.
We can definitely run a PSA. I mean, that's for sure.
Well, we should talk about doing that.
I think you should, because you guys will be on in the middle of it.
Yeah, we'll be on the middle of it.
Right. And you can plug the event, and you don't have to pick a certain charity. We would love to be ours, but not one. But you can direct them to the website that lists all the charities involved, and people can then.
Is there somebody from that group we could get on short notice here?
The Orange. Yeah, you might. Let me contact you up with the Community Foundation.
That'd be great.
And then we could have them come on, and they could plug all the stuff, and we could take live calls, and people could do things, and maybe we could help.
We can do it the week before, and then we can actually do it.
Today's the week before.
Today's the week
before. We're doing it the week before, but we also do it in the middle of like Beth was saying, in the middle of the program.
Yeah.
We'd be Wednesday.
That's that day. They're trying to get everybody to contribute to charities, and this other group will match it.
They have right now. They have $400,000 available in matching funds.
Wow.
So last year the charities raised.
So they're trying to get people open your pocket. That's next Wednesday, folks.
Yeah.
And which again, the 27th
and the 28th, all the way to noon.
If you don't have a guest for next week, or if we could move it back.
I think we're You know, it's interesting. I think we're booked throughout May now.
Maybe you could
but we can
we
can definitely
work it in.
Work it in. Yeah, we could definitely do that.
Let's do that. Let's try and get that
I'll
person.
hook you up with the Orange County Community. It's the Community Foundation. They're amazing.
Deborah can contact him.
She will know.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
The other thing I want to put on the table, and it just occurred to me as we're talking about this.
Don't put anything. There's 2 minutes on the table already.
Can I get back to my? He's church today, and I apologize for Paul, but we're all good. On June 11th of this year, it's actually we've done it for the last couple of years, but it's the second Saturday of every June. It's Global Wellness Day.
Oh yeah,
and it was initiated by a lady in Turkey whose family owns a resort, and it's part of my spa industry involvement. I'm an ambassador for the United States for Global Wellness Day, and so we're reaching out to different organizations that have, for that one day, can help basically put out sort of the importance of having an awareness to wellness in your life.
Don't tap the table. I'm trying to get you to stop tapping the table.
And well, that's because I'm kind of tense now after being chastised. But the manifesto that the organization has, and it's globalwellnessday.org, is, drink water, take a walk, get away from your computer, sleep at 10 o'clock. It's a very simple program of things. However, I think there's an opportunity. Usually, it's been the spa industry that's embraced this.
The spa industry?
The spa industry, and the
health spas,
and the hospitality industry. Yeah, the
I thought he said spy.
Yeah, the spa industry.
Well, that's why he said manifesto and everything. It's a bunch of spies.
There's words in there.
Yeah. The manifesto and the spy industry.
You got to be healthy to be a spy.
I know.
See, exactly. Wellness is a big deal. Anybody who watches James Bond movie knows that.
James Bond can't have a cold or can't have a flu,
especially Daniel Craig now. Is he still drinking martinis, or is that out now?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the
shaking that start.
Health organizations. I'm trying to reach out to people that are not necessarily sort of that luxury lifestyle wellness component. Where it's a little bit more far-reaching, where it's either senior impacting or maybe it's children in school systems and things like nature. Because I think that awareness of wellness being an important component of balance in somebody's life is something that the sooner it is infused into somebody's psyche, the longer they will benefit from it in their life.
And the less they'll have need of senior services someday for dementia.
Well, I think
and diabetes and overweight and all the other things.
I think you can ask anybody at Alzheimer's.
Why is everybody looking at me when I say that stuff?
Because I got a name for you. You do. Old timer.
Old timer.
I was waiting for Clyde to weigh in again.
Yikes.
Well, good.
I didn't want to interrupt, but,
No.
But
Perfect
I've got some
timing.
good names for him. Old timer.
Old timer.
Now, can I ask him a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
Which one would you rather be called?
Yeah.
Old timer, senior citizen, or a deceased young adult?
You got a point there. I'll give you a high five.
Wait, you didn't answer his question.
Yeah. What's the alternative?
He's past a young adult.
You do remember his questions, right?
I lost it there. Right.
So I think I'm just going to put the word out to both of you guys. If there's an interest, let me know, because then we can basically get a little. I mean, it's global. There's like 300 ambassadors in the world. In 2 years, this thing has just exploded like crazy. So we could definitely do that, and then it's wide open as far as what kind of activities we can develop. But it's a one-day thing, and we can all just be part of that bigger
thing.
Yeah.
For 45 minutes we've been talking, and you had this poor gentleman's had a mic in front of me. He's been very patient taking notes. Who is the last member?
Well, I'm not exactly sure when to jump in, but I'll wait.
I think you just did, Potter. So
introduce
yourself and your organization.
Well, my name is Tariq Al-Nabli, and we own Parentis Health, and we basically provide residential care as well as home care, and now we provide also home health services.
And what would that be? What's home health?
Well, home health is, let us say somebody is being discharged out of a hospital after a knee operation, for example, and the doctor needs them to go with what we call home health, which is to follow up medically and make sure that they are going to actually take their medications and do their their PT and exercises and everything. So that is our job. Our job is to get the doctor's orders, and we follow through with the plan of care to take care of our clients.
And do you do it just here, or how far do you?
We are actually able to do this throughout all of Southern California.
Oh, really?
So from LA County down to San Diego, all the way
and
east
who
and
pays
west.
for the service? How do
these services are usually paid for by Medicare, or they're paid for by insurance companies or HMO companies, and so on and so forth.
So are you seeing
I just want to say that we just got our license, but however, we have been in residential care and home care, but residential care for the last 13 years. We've decided to add services, and so right now we're actually doing pro bono work in the home health side, because we're going through a process of accreditation.
Right.
So
can I offer my 92-year-old aunt out in Sun City out here?
Well, we can talk about that.
We can talk about it.
So basically, that's what we do.
That's why I do this show, to help her. Right?
But one of the key elements, I think, that Parentis Health, which is very unique, that actually brings to the community, is the fact that when an individual becomes a client of Parentis Health in any of the services that it is providing, they actually become a client for life. And what does that mean, become a client for life?
Yeah,
I mean, literally.
Everybody says that. Oh, you're a client for life.
Yes, yes.
My
very,
car
very
dealer
true.
thinks I'm a client for life.
Yeah, the life of your car.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, basically what happens is that we do assign an actual care management team. Unlike many other situations, these are actual team that is composed of 3 individuals. One of them is an RN and so on and so forth. But the reality, an RN and MSW, as well as the CHHA,
Master of Social Work, right?
Yes.
What was the last one?
Which is a certified home health aide.
Oh, okay.
So we do have a team that actually will be in communication with the family, as well as the patient, if the patient needs the family to be communicated with, as opposed to the patient.
Well, and it's very important to approach it from a holistic perspective.
It's a completely holistic perspective. And the idea here, when we say that they are client for life, in our case, and it is applied as such, that we will follow through whether that individual, that patient, is actually on service or if they are off service.
Really?
That's the key. And that service is provided absolutely free. So we do not charge for that service. This is called a true continuity of care model that we are pioneering. And many physicians are saying, my goodness, you actually do this for me. Because they look at it as, are you going to really be able to follow that person to make sure that they are actually compliant when it comes to taking medications and so forth? And we say, yes, we will. But not only that, the family and the patient, even when they're off service, the family and the patient will be able to actually reach us 24 hours a day with a response. We will be able to speak with them so that we can basically help in guiding exactly what the needs are going to be. You talked about your aunt, and she is only touched at the time when we have
Meals on Wheels comes in.
Meals on Wheels coming in. If she had an episode or a situation where she eventually at some point became a client of ours, guess what? Besides the Meals on Wheels and the individual that's going to come and see them, we will actually be checking in. And we will be trying to find out if everything is okay.
I definitely want to learn more about it for her and for everyone else who's looking at this, because what you find is these people, like my aunt, she fell. And that's what starts happening around this age. And so she went in the hospital and got a little better, and then they put her into whatever you call it, a nursing home for a short while to recover, but Medicare only pays for a month or two, I think up to 90 days.
Yes.
And then they discharge her, and then they had some home health care person come out and work with her and get her up on her feet, and that was great. And then they left. And she starts to deteriorate again. She needs that kind of physical therapy on a regular basis. She needs someone to motivate her, to push her to do all this.
That is precisely where we have to continue that care. And even if we are not, they are not on service anymore, it is true. However, it is because we want to make sure that that individual does not fall right back into the trap, because, we're all creatures of habit.
Right.
And we will always go back to the least common denominator, which is what whatever it is that we are used to.
Right.
But if there is someone there where there is an opportunity that if you are not feeling well, if you are feeling lonely, if whatever the case may be, and we are only but a phone call away, then that is actually true, and it is within 24. It is a 24-hour service.
It's actually very smart, right? Because I mean, on multiple levels, including lack of lowering the risk of readmittance.
Yes,
I mean there's a
That's
smartness about doing this. It's not just a.
So let me give you an example. So she's now fallen several times. This is like a yearly activity. She falls. She injures herself. She gets rushed to the hospital. All that Medicare and everything, and her insurance company pays for all this expensive care to get her. She broke a hip once. She broke something else once. So she has this, and then she has rehab afterwards. And then because they don't continue it, a year later, she's right back.
So, you see, that's one of the things,
Right.
one of the services that even AgeWell offers is we have case managers.
Yeah.
We have case managers that someone goes through that, they check in with them. And they follow through for the entire time that they're ours.
Yeah.
And they're ours for the rest of their
And I've
time.
asked them, I said, wouldn't it make much more economic sense? It would certainly make more sense for her in her life if somebody could check in with her and keep her on the program and keep her going and give her some updates. When you dismiss her and then kick her out of the system, she falls right back in, and then you're going to pay 10 times as much next year when she comes back with a severe injury.
Look at it even more globally than that. I mean, yes, it is true that we are actually focused on the patient and making sure that that individual is doing well.
Right.
The reality is that the consequences of not doing that becomes a huge burden on Medicare. It has a huge burden on the insurance companies, on the medical system. The physician has no clue about what's really going on, whether that individual is being compliant with their medications, or if there is something going on. I mean, it is. Arda, my wife, has a nurse of almost 35 years. That has been our vision. That has been our mission since we actually started our operations. When we talk about residential care facilities, and we have 10 residential care facilities in Mission Viejo, Laguna Hills, and Laguna Niguel, and since day one, and what we have learned obviously over time from our experience is that you cannot just simply admit somebody in and think that all you have to do is basically feed them, give them a place to live, and that's all you do.
And then kick them out, and then see them again 6 months later.
Yeah, and we don't do that. I mean, the way it's done is that we actually practiced care management, and we did the care management. Our care management is so unique in that we, in residential care facilities, that it's a non-medical model.
Sure.
So you don't have to have an RN or an LVN working.
Right.
However, if you look at the model that we've adopted, and we've been in business for 13 years, that we've adopted, you're going to find out that we have 60 beds that we service, and guess what? Today, we have 3 RNs and 1 LVN that work as administrators.
Wow.
And that is our way of making sure that we know what is going on with the patient. We are actually available 24 hours a day.
And I'll tell you again,
and we visit every single bed every day.
From personal experience, why that's important, my aunt, who has a rare form of blood cancer, and not many doctors know about, and it makes her very anemic. She doesn't produce red blood cells. It's Waldenstrom something, and so she's very anemic and weak anyway, which is why she's more prone to fall. She goes in these facilities, these whatever you call them, assisted living or whatever, or recovery.
Residential care, assisted living, intermediate care facilities, and so forth. Yes.
After she's in the hospital, she goes there. Her doctor is not allowed in. Her doctor has it's a black hole. He has no idea. You can take her out of there at an expense to the doctor, but when she's in under their care, their doctor, and he only comes once to see you, and the next 30 to 60, 90 days that you're there, nobody sees her. And she's always like, but my regular physicians need to monitor my glucose levels and all this other stuff. It's crazy.
And so what's interesting about that, we are a non-medical model, so therefore we actually bring in the services. So when we have home health home health comes in. And the majority of our patients, the majority, 99%, actually have physicians that come to the home.
Wow.
And but not only that, being that we are nurses, and you take some vital signs, and you do the basic stuff, because again, we're non-medical model, but at least we have data, so that when we see so when we see that there is clearly issues that are going on, changing behavior, for example, with the elderly is very common. If there's a UTI being experienced or anything like that, when we see that, we are able to actually speak with the physician right away. We don't have to wait and call the family, tell them to find out if it's okay for us to call the physician. The families already know, because we do have a care management policy, is that we will actually call the physician, and if we can't get a hold of him in his regular office, guess what? We actually have their
give out
cell
your
phone
website,
numbers.
because that's a rare model. I've never heard of that before.
But that is exactly what we have been doing. And so the physician now is talking to an RN, so now he has a certain level of comfort, a certain level of confidence that, hey, you know, when she tells him, or we can, let us fax to you the last month worth of readings so that you can get an idea, and this is what we're having today. Now he can say, you know what, can you get me a urine sample now, and I'm going to fax the order into the lab, and if you can, we actually take it and we drop it off so that we can help the physician be efficient in the way they do
Never
things.
seen them. My aunt and my parents before her went through multiple places.
And it's that interim step that you, Paul, were saying was missing. And you know, it's kind of interesting. It's whether you have a philosophy of preventive or reactive. Right.
And it's all and it's
so
all
much
reactive, and they want to kick them out as quick as they can to save money, and in the end, it costs everybody more money.
Well, guess.
And you know how great it is for saving a life.
Right.
The reality is that you get somebody who is a chronic UTI individual.
UTI stands for
urinary tract infections.
Yes, that is my aunt. That's my aunt. She has continuous urinary tract infections.
So when you have these chronic situations, you really do want to get that antibiotic in as quickly as possible, because otherwise things will change, and I mean, who knows what it would be? I mean, it could end up being septic very quickly, because it depends on the immune system of the body.
And so shut it down.
You know that is the reason why. And why do we do it? Because it's the right thing to do.
But
that's all.
But Tara, I want to say this. You know, it's the right thing to do. But I also, for those that are jaded and it's a business and all this stuff, I want to say it's also the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. It is the smart thing to do.
It's
if you're
the right
a business owner or a service
thing,
provider, it's both.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Reactive versus proactive, or preventive.
Yes.
Reactive is I'm thirsty. I'm going to dig a well now. Okay. Yeah. That makes no sense, right?
Good luck.
That makes no sense, right? I'm going to dig a well when I'm the most thirsty, right? So, and yet this is how we make a lot of these decisions, right? In this situation, not only is it the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do. It's the smart thing to do, and don't tap the table, okay? And the smart thing to do, and on top of that, okay, it's likely to enhance somebody's life. I mean, in cases of chronic situations like this,
and
I mean,
save money for the
gosh.
providers. They don't have to pay. The insurance company will pay 10 times more when they lapse into.
That's right. That's right. And
as long as that's the model they want.
And what is important and what is important to recognize, I mean, the physicians that we deal with, you know, they love it. They understand why it is that we're doing what we're doing.
See why.
And guess what? And they would actually give us a schedule. Okay, we will be coming in.
Absolutely.
Or if there's an emergency, you know, the PA comes in right away, because if he can't come in right away or she cannot come in as a physician, then the physician assistant will come in right away.
You're helping them do their job.
There is exactly, and prevent them from having to go to the emergency room or going to the hospital. You see, that's
on
very
a fire
key.
drill, 11th hour rush situation.
I would love to have everybody come back and talk about more of this stuff, but we're out of time here today. Let's go through.
But I do want to make the connection though. Okay, why? Parentis Health is here is they are a sponsor of the golf tournament.
There we go.
So that's why they're in the room. And if anybody's interested in the golf tournament, it's May 16th, and you can go to My Age Well, right?
Yes.
And get information and print.
I do want to say something important that you know. This is last year I joined up and I called Wilson, is a great friend of mine for the past 25 years, and I told him I need you to partner in with me because we're expanding services, but what we want is we want to go out there and search for great causes where we can actually go out there and support these causes.
There you go.
And we ended up with Age Well and with Dr. Marilyn Diddy and Beth, and we had this conversation, and quite frankly, we did not know that the golf
see it all
tournament.
The time. There's not a lot of communication between all the different groups and all the different agencies. Everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah, that the golf tournament, was, did not have a major sponsor,
right.
And we were sitting there together, and it was instant, I guess.
Yeah.
We looked at each other and we said, for a great cause. I mean, Dr. Diddy had the foresight 6 years ago to help. We call them this senior community. Older adults is the one word.
Be careful now. Careful.
Okay, but helping the community, and look where we are today.
Old guys.
And we looked at this and we said, my goodness, we established a Parentis Health Foundation for that purpose.
Common culture.
So yes, we are a business, but we also have a charitable division that is there to support great causes.
So will you promise to come back and we'll give you another shot at all this?
I would be happy to come back.
About this?
I would be happy
to come back. And the same thing for Age Well.
Absolutely.
Let's get them back on the schedule again here because we are out of time. I just need everybody to give me your website.
Contact information, how people can get
you got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry. My information is you mean my
if somebody wants to learn more,
how do they find out about you?
The way you find out about us is you can go to parentishealth.com.
Spell it.
PARENTIS.
Okay.
Health. HEALTH.com. And by the way, parentis stands for in place of a parent. It's actually a Latin word, in loco parentis.
That's right.
Which is in the place of a parent, and this is what we do.
I thought it was crazy parent. But
and
El Pollo Loco here.
Yeah, and but that's how you can hear about us, parentishealth.com.
What about Age Well, Beth?
We're myagewell.org.
myagewell.org.
And to learn more about Clyde,
just come to see me at the Angel game.
That's right. He's there, baby.
come see him at the golf tournament on the 16th.
Go to the A Stadium and ask for Clyde.
That's right. It. Everybody knows where I am.
Guys, you know what? I really appreciate you guys all being here and taking the time. This was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
And just keep doing the good work that you guys are doing. It's phenomenal. It's very important. Yeah,
Thank you. We are very proud of it, and
you should be.
We hope to grow this nationally, and that's what we're working on right now. Actually,
we'd love to help.
We'd like to help. Okay, thank you, and we'll see everybody. We're here. We'll see and talk to everybody next week. Same time, same bat channel.
You have been listening to the Raad Life Radio Show with your host and age explorer, Rad Gantos, brought to you on the one and only OCTalkRadio.net. Join us again next week as we continue our journey of discovery into life's challenges, opportunities, options, and all the latest and greatest things that come with getting older.
Let's face it, not all company challenges are the same.